and gentlemen, would you all please rise and remove your head covering as the Sun Country gentlemen perform our national anthem.
For the to Glasgow, dear old Glasgow tune. Oh, what's the matter with Glasgow, for it's going round and round. I'm only a common old working chap, as anyone here can see. But when I've had a couple of drinks on a Saturday, Glasgow belongs to me. I was out with a couple of cronies, 1 or 2 pals of me, eh? We went in a hotel and we came very well, and then we come out once again, and then we went into another, and that is the reason I'm fool. We had sing talking choruses and sang some choruses. Listen, I'll sing one to you. I belong to Glasgow, dear old Glasgow tune. Oh, what's the matter with Glasgow, for it's going round and round. I'm only a common old working chap, as anyone here can see. But when I've had a couple of drinks on a Saturday, Glasgow belongs to me. There's no point in saving your money or keeping a shilling or two. If you've nothing to spend, then you've nothing to lend. Why, that's all the better for you. There's no harm in taking a droppy. It ends all your troubles and strife. It gives you the feeling that when you get home, you don't give a hang for the wife. Oh, I belong to Glasgow, dear old Glasgow tune. Oh, what's the matter with Glasgow, for it's going round and round. I'm only a common old working chap, as anyone here can see. But when I've had a couple of drinks on a Saturday, Glasgow belongs to me.
Good voices. Did we pass the audition? Oh. I was supposed to introduce my English friends. Is Mo, Larry, and Curly.
Good job.
necessary to use the atomic bomb. Well, at that particular time, I'm told that we were having roughly 5,000 casualties a day. There were a lot of killing going on, and we felt if we could be successful with the dropping of that bomb, we would convince the Japanese of the futility of continuing to fight. And that's exactly what we did. We stopped the killing.
Can you tell them about your meeting with Fushida after the war?
Yeah, if I could mention, the Japanese had 4 men come into the United States to be shown through different military installations, Army, Navy, Air Force, to see how we, the U.S., were using the equipment we were going to give them, kind of on a reverse lend-lease deal, except they were going to give it to them. And I had the 6th Air Division at Tampa, largest air division in SAC and in the Air Force at that time. And I got a call from my boss. He said, the men are coming, there's 4 of them. They're coming to your base. You will give them a cocktail party and a dinner afterwards. Your staff and wives will be the hosts. Be sure that the women don't get on one side of the place, men on the other side. Mix it up, make these people feel at home. We did just that. And somewhere along in the thing, I was standing basically in the middle of the room that we were in. I had my back up against the wall. I had a can of beer in my left hand. A guy wearing blue suit walked up to me. He stuck out his hand. He said, I'm Fushida. Shall we talk about it? That didn't mean anything to me at that time. He saw that. He said, oh man, he said, I led the attack on Pearl Harbor. Oh, what do you do about that? I said, you sure surprised us. He said, what the hell do you think you did to us? He said, now we can talk about it. And here's one statement he made. He said, the Japanese people appreciate what you did, and they understand better than the American public will ever understand of why you used the bomb. Freedom.
Van Solen, Sergeant First Class Billy Van Solen. The last name is spelled V-A-N, capital S-O-E-L-E-N.
First name W-I-L-N-A?
No, Billy as in Billy Boy.
And what is your official title?
I am the tandem assistant team leader, tandem team assistant team leader.
And you've been with the Golden Knights for how long?
This is my 10th year on the United States Army parachute team.
Why? Why did you get involved?
You know, that's a good question. When I had about 270 tactical jumps, that's the round parachutes. I was with the 1st Ranger Battalion, and a friend of mine had a video, and he said, "Hey man, you need to check this out." He plugged in Patrick Swayze at Point Break, and I saw Patrick Swayze doing this free fall, and I watched him land real soft, because when you're doing tactical jumps, it's really a controlled crash. I mean, you land really, really hard. And I thought, wow, Patrick Swayze can do that. I can do that too. So I went the next weekend to a local drop zone, started skydiving just kind of as a hobby, and I got about 150 jumps and started looking around, and I saw these guys on video, black and gold, and they were just phenomenal in the sky. I said, wow, who are those guys? I said, wow, that's your team. That's the United States Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. And I thought, wow, what a unique opportunity. I can serve my country and do something that I love to do, meet the people, talk about the Army, talk about all the things that the adventure, the Army, the money, everything that has to do with my job, and still get to skydive for free. And so I applied for an application to go to the United States Army Parachute Team tryout program. I was lucky enough to get accepted. I was lucky enough to make it through the 6-week assessment program, and 10 years later, here I am still doing the thing I love to do.
is Joe Cowan. I've served as Chief of Staff of the CAF from 1997 through 2000. I just happen to love Twin Beaches. I think they're one of the greatest airplanes built. This particular airplane served in Midland, Texas in 1944 as an AT-11. You can carry people with them. You can be a photo ship, drop skydivers, whatever they need you to be in an air show, you can be. You can be a bomber, you can be a transport, cargo, trainer. So whatever they're short for an air show, you can do it. We fly fast enough, we can fly with the Mustangs. We fly slow enough, we can fly with the Stearmans. It's a great overall compromise airplane because of the speed ranges. It's a fun airplane to fly. Once you get used to a short coupled tailwheel airplane, it just makes for a great time at having an air show. You can have lots of friends because you can carry all their luggage. So whatever you need to be, this is the airplane to have.
Somebody asked me a red hot question.
How many MiGs did you actually shoot down?
I'm sorry, what?
How many MiGs did you actually shoot down?
4. And if I got 5, I was going to be brought home. No, I don't want to go home. No, really. Saffoy, the same general. They're going to bring me home and hang me up, you know, as an exhibit. No thanks. I had the best job I ever had, working with the finest people. And I had 3 months to go, and I wasn't about to go home. That was a good question. Thank you for asking that. You look querulous. Do you have a question? No, either one of you. No?
How do you compare the P-38 and P-51 and into the jet era?
Like all fighter pilots, you know, you fall in love with your first fighter. And I love the P-38. Its major drawback in Europe was you could not fight properly at altitude. You couldn't dive a P-38 from altitude. You know. And I think the Germans knew that, because you'd hit compressibility so fast, and then you'd lose elevator control. It happened to me once, and the yoke just flopped back and forth. Your head is straight down. So I was delighted to convert to the 51. It was a much better fighter for that war at that time. I love the F-4. Ugly old mother, but oh God, what a fighter. And you know, Navy airplane, the Air Force in its wisdom didn't buy a decent fighter until suddenly they had the need thrust in their faces. So they had to buy the F-4, which was fine. Loved it. Tail hook and everything. In November, the MiGs were getting frisky, more daring, chasing the Thuds out, trying to cope with us. I told my boss at a meeting that I had an idea about something that we could do that might be fun to lure them up. He said, eventually, he said, okay, go ahead and plan and come down and brief me. So the whole plan was to emulate everything about the Thuds. Formations, speeds, altitudes, call signs, the whole 9 yards. And go in and make their ground control people, the radar people, think we were the usual force of Thuds coming in. And if they launched their MiG-21s, fine. We'd have at them because we'd be loaded for bear. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but what really made that mission work was the adaptation of the F-4 to carry an electro-countermeasures pod, which the F-4 had never done before, but the 105s had. Now, Mother Nature was on our side because there was a total undercast, and they couldn't see us approaching, because the F-4 left a telltale smoke trail behind it. So that undercast helped. The pod signified our presence and said that we're 105s. See? and up they came to their distress. That was a great little fight called Bolo. We got 7 of them. Deep over Germany. I won't bore you with all the details, but my wingman and I attacked some 55, 60 MA-109s, the 2 of us. And everyone said, oh my goodness, what that's. I said, no. Put yourself in any one of those cockpits, the Germans, trying to keep from running into each other, headed for the bombers, and then one of them suddenly screams, Achtung, Teufel, Teufel, I'm being hit. Every man in that big formation would think there was somebody behind him. It was utter chaos in the German formation. And they broke up. Bombers never saw a fighter that day. I managed to get 3 of them in that fight.
General Lowell, as many of you know, has fought in 3 wars, World War II in Mustangs, Korea in F-86s, and the last one in Vietnam flying F-4s with 4 kills. His experience in the military has been as a fighter pilot. And those of us fortunate enough today to fly these magnificent airplanes, fly either fighters or bombers or L-birds and liaisons and so forth, transports, cargoes, the whole lot. But there seems to have been a question all these years about fighter pilots and bomber pilots, and I thought if anybody could tell us the difference between a fighter pilot and a bomber pilot, this man can tell us the difference between a fighter pilot and a bomber pilot. Sir, would you tell us the difference between a fighter pilot and a bomber pilot? No. But I'll show you.
Thank you.